Hello class. Today we will be talking about the training modalities for a beach volleyball player. She is college aged, 20 years old, she's healthy, no previous injuries. She just needs to have a program that gets her ready to return to play. So before we get into the program and start prescribing exercises, we need to get a good basis of what she is efficient in and efficient in. So we'll take a few testing protocols before we program. This can start with a mobility test, like a sit and reach test to see the hamstring and lower back activation, a overhead squat to see if there's any movement inefficiencies in the upper body or lower extremities, and some shoulder IR and ER rotation as it pertains to spiking. That is a very important movement that a beach volleyball player should have. So once we get the mobility done, we can then progress into more rigorous testing, like an endurance test. Something we can do is a 30-15 intermittent conditioning test. This can be done on the sand court, preferably, as it'll be the most sport specific. But the athlete will be running 30 seconds down and back for 30 seconds with 15 seconds of rest. Each interval should get higher and higher, and the test will conclude once she cannot reach a maximum time. After this, we can move into an agility test, which can be something like a 5-10-5, where there's 3 cones and a 10-yard line, and she runs to her left for 5 yards, 10 yards across, and then 5 yards back through the middle. We'll time this and record the data. We can do a vertical jump test to see how explosive she is. This is very important to beach volleyball as you're sprinting, stopping, jumping repeatedly throughout your games. Lastly, we can do a strength test, a 5-rep max for a lower compound and an upper compound. This is important just to see the strength thresholds, but it is not as significant to beach volleyball as muscular endurance is. So once we conclude these tests, we can have a very good idea of what we need to program for her from her inefficiencies and things that she needs to progress on.
After we get done with all of our pre-program testing, we'll have a really good idea of what she is good at and what she isn't so good at, and her strengths and weaknesses. And we can target these weaknesses through our programming and through our prescription of exercise. So within the first 1 to 4 weeks, we want to make sure that the body composition and the stabilization as well as the strength are up to par for a base to where we can add on top of it, such as ballistic movements and explosive movements, as well as more endurance training and whatever else this athlete may need throughout the course of their training program. And these tests will be conducted more than one time. It will be conducted throughout the program to see where we are, how the training is going, and how the prescription is affecting the athlete. To start, we'll need a lot of compound movements and variations for the athlete to go back to if they want to switch things up. But the basis is to get stabilization, mobility, and strength within the first 1 to 4 weeks, and that could become from a lot of compound movements such as back squats, hex bar deadlifts, variations such as Bulgarian split squats or reverse lunges can help with the stabilization of the lower body, as well as some explosive movements like depth box jumps and pogo hops are very important for an athlete such as a volleyball player, especially beach volleyball, as explosive movements in the lower body need to be up to par to be competitive, as well as upper body strength for spiking and being coordinated with the upper body. There will be upper body segments such as dumbbell bench press, and furthermore Bosu ball dumbbell bench press for the coordination and the stabilization of the core and the upper body, as well as overhead movements, as well as single arm overhead movements and explosive single arm overhead movements as it retains to spiking the ball, as well as explosive Lower body, below knee movements such as pogo hops are very important, as well as tibialis work, because this athlete will be in sand and will be jumping and will be running and stopping on a dime. These are very important for the health of the athlete as well as the performance of the athlete. Once we move past the first stage, the first 4 weeks to 8 weeks of that stabilization and strength as well as body composition, we can move toward more explosive movements and more sports specific movements, such as more pogo hops, more depth box jumps, more explosive overhead movements, and more mobility to ensure throughout the season health.
Yeah, absolutely. And to conclude, basically our program is to make her as efficient on the court as possible. We like to look at the lifting program as the secondary. It should only be improving on court performance, on sand performance, if you will, rather than taking away from it. So we will take a lot of considerations from what the athlete likes and doesn't like and what makes her feel good to perform her best on the court.
The athlete's body and mind is our basis for the training and nothing more. This is specifically for the athlete to perform better, not be better at working out.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.